Now I'd like to return to Elma Domišević. She will give us an overview of the theme and contents of the Green Design Festival.
Thank you very much, Chris. I will give you an overview of green design themes. I'll try to touch all issues and aspects that when we talk about green design and sustainable development, what are the issues we have to tackle and where should we look for the inspiration. The green design basically is a design method that should help us, or should help also designers, to give the answers to the global questions, the problems that we are dealing with in this 21st century, and they are primarily related to the fact that the climate change is here, as we notice that from year to year, that the natural resources are diminishing, the fact that the population growth is increasing, the fact that we see enormous dynamics in the migrations, in the developments of the cities, and enormous dynamics in market development. Now, why is this dynamic important? It has very much to do with the impact that these dynamics and societies which are emerging have on the environment. That means that actually we are based and we depend on economy and business models which promote enormous consumption of products. And what we see also as a trend is that the product life cycle is therefore becoming shorter and shorter. Even in the buildings, we see that they are being transformed very often, that we build buildings that we think will stay there for 50 or 100 years, but already after 5 or 10 years, they are being changed, and in some countries even demolished. So the product life cycle is becoming shorter and shorter, and that means that they are being replaced with a new product. That means we are introducing new energy consumption, use of new materials. And where the problem is then, it is related to the manner how we make things. It is related to the industrialization and processes that we use in manufacturing and producing products and buildings, because they use one linear material flows. As Ambassador Sweden van Forst tot Forst mentioned, we treat materials from extraction of materials through a number of sequences to the use of material, and once the first use of that material ended, it is going to be thrown away. So that is the reason why we also heard today the amounts of waste are piling up. So one of the great questions that are posed in front of designers, and where I think designers can really have an impact, is to rethink the way we make things and to rethink the way and develop a number of scenarios for use of materials and products which they start using in the first place, and give them a second life and give them a capacity and possibility to have a second life. Second life is one of the themes of this year's workshops, and you will also find in this corner over there some results of the workshop which took place at the Academy of Arts. They developed a number of products with the idea of introducing to the design phase also the idea of the use of the products which they presented here. So what are we dealing with in the issues on sustainability and green? A number of points I mentioned here. Water infrastructure We have to deal with the polluted waters. We have to think also about the floods that we see more and more. The reason that we see these floods are also very much related to the great development of cities, which are growing and growing, and there are actually many cubic meters of concrete and asphalt that we introduce and put on this planet, which disturbs the natural flows of waters and results also very often recently in floods. So there are issues related to the infrastructure, but also to the clean water problems. The green infrastructure, again, due to this development, huge development of cities and megacities, the green is disappearing. One of the issues we have to address is how to reintegrate green into our built environment. The air, the pollution, very logical. The material, how do we deal with materials in built environment and with products. And very important issue of sustainable development is also a social and cultural continuity of the place and the cities. And that is going to be also an important issue, I think, in the future, because we see lots of migrations taking place, or for different reasons, economic reasons. Sometimes we'll see also migrations that took place because the floods took over some regions, or disappeared because of the disappearance of islands. So there are new people coming into our old cities. There is a change, a shift in population, and the cities have to redefine themselves. They have to become more creative and provide more social and cultural continuity of the place. So what are we dealing with? Can I just ask some people over there in the corner to move to the coffee shop next door, if that's okay with you, or whatever, because I can't hear myself. So what are we dealing with? And it's obvious, global warming. We feel that every year it brings global disruptions. The Netherlands is a country that really looks very carefully into the issues of a raise of sea level. Very important one is waste. This picture actually shows lots of waste in our oceans. I don't know if you are aware of the fact that 1/4 of our oceans are called now a plastic soup. And what a plastic soup is, it is a plastic that our fathers, and maybe even grandfathers, but fathers, they bought some packages or maybe some presents, and these things were thrown away like 40 years ago, 50 years ago. And this plastic ended up in oceans and seas. At this moment, there is a plastic which is floating in our oceans for about 40 years. It becomes smaller, and you get smaller particles. The problem is that this soup is moving through the ocean, so you can't say it is in this part of the world or the other one. The other problem is that the fish eats the small particles, and we might eat that again. The same present that our father brought to our mother maybe 40 years ago, we eat after 40 years with the fish. It is a serious problem, and actually there is no real answer at this moment how to deal with this plastic soup, for example. Just one of the issues. So what do we recognize in green trends? One of the issues can be the end of the 20th century business model that values primarily increase in consumption. So that is a kind of attitude we had, and we actually still have. Of course, our economy depends on consumption, and we basically have to consume products, otherwise at this moment we have no other solutions. It does not mean that we have to consume less. The only issue is that we have to think of a way how to make products so that when we don't use a product for the initial use, it still has a value and can be something else. So that is the question for the designers, how to design and introduce this capacity and give this capacity to the materials to be something else. We see also a shift from quantity to quality. So it is not important to have many products, but we need a good quality products. Shift from centralized to decentralized systems, and that's also a very interesting one. It has, for example, also to do with the energy systems. We deal now these days with very inefficient energy systems in the cities, with very inefficient water systems. We lose lots of water through these pipelines, which are leaking some places. We lose also lots of electricity when electricity moves from a source to is being distributed to the end users. But these green ideas and concepts give power back to the people. And it is actually very much really about the people and power they can get by developing these new concepts and becoming more independent of these centralized systems. So we can imagine in the future having a building which is producing just enough energy to heat or cool itself, and even produces even more energy so it can give it to its neighbor or to the school. We can also have imagine a building which reuses its water streams for the shower, toilets, which uses the waste for the biogas production, and even uses that as energy source as well. That would mean real decentralized system. People would be more free of these dependencies. And very important aspect of green is green development is to achieve basically more with less. And that is something that all designers really should keep in mind. Now, just shortly, of course, this idea of sustainable development, green design, and so forth is not really new. People are very busy with these ideas in the last 50, 60 years especially. And of course, you can't make this transition very easily and fast. So I usually use these pictures as just to give you an idea in which stage we are now. So when you recognize a problem, when you see that there is an environmental problem, an energy problem, and so forth, which we recognized and put into the document in 1992, then you go into immediate action. And what that is, if we pollute, then we try to compensate. So in this diagram, I want to show that that was our first reaction, to compensate our actions and our production methods, the pollution and CO2 emissions which we were creating. We were planting woods, and, which is very good, of course. But we came to the stage to think further. So it is not only about compensation and being less bad, as Michael Brangard would say, but it is about being active, proactive, and doing really good, positive things for the nature, which are complementary with the nature, using renewable sources for the energy production and so forth, like this building and this house, which obviously produces more energy than it needs, so can export it. And this very funny scheme done by the Dutch Ministry for Water. It is a scenario developed in the Netherlands for the 2050, an idea of using different water streams in the building and reusing all waters within a house for different purposes, which is not very far away from happening, and there are already some things and buildings being built with these scenarios. And being proactive means this reintegration of a green in our built environments. And that is really a very important issue. By, for example, integrating green roofs, or especially green roofs. I can mention that, for example, 1 square meter of a green roof can accumulate immediately 50 liters of water. So if you have lots of rain showers, especially in the Netherlands, it is very interesting to put more green roofs, and that is happening in the cities as Amsterdam, for example, and big cities in the Netherlands. Another important of green is that we have something which is called heat island effect above big cities like New York, Washington, or all mega cities, because these buildings are made of lots of mass of concrete and stone, and in summer it heats up, and actually it is even warmer in these cities than it should be because of the way they were built. By introducing green, you can reduce immediate temperature on the roof in the summer for 10 degrees. So green is, and reintegration of green in a building is an important issue. And one American architect even sketched the possibility of producing your own food. That's the building just down there. That you can imagine buildings in the future that not produce only the energy by use of solar panels, but they produce even the food they would need for the inhabitants. And I would just like to go a little bit back to that social aspect of green, which is, again, this very important one. There's these cities, for example, as New York, are not very green and not really very efficiently built. They are even a problem at this stage if you think about sustainability. But they are surviving, and they will probably survive. And why? Because of the people and social programs and cultural programs. It is such a creative city that it is able, the city is able to redefine itself and stay on a highlights, for example, and remain an attractive point worldwide that people want to go and live there. Although not all these buildings and apartments are so comfortable to live in, but it is a place where you want to be, because cities are not there because they are made of blocks, concrete, and bricks, but they are made by people. And that is a very important thing, and I think Sarajevo has in that respect also very good potential to be this city and develop real image of and use its hospitality, and it has great people and very creative people to really develop a great image as a capital of one European country in the future. So I just further thinking and talking about the green, an important issue is renewable energy sources. So I use this slide just to inform you about the energy resources we use on the Earth at the moment. How much do we have? What is left? So in general, you will see this small red cube somewhere in the middle of the box, and that's the world's energy consumption of 1 year. And then you have on top the yellow one, it is a natural gas resource that's left. And there on the oil resources, coal resources, and uranium. But this big one, that's a solar energy irradiated during 1 year into the surface of the Earth. So what is this telling us? It is telling us that actually we do not have to use these materials as gas, oil, coal, and so forth, if we are just clever enough to think about a good technology which can transfer the solar energy into the energy that we can use. So we are busy with that. Everyone on this planet is at this moment working on these new technologies. We are going very far. And actually, that's why I'm very positive about energy. I think that that problem is going to be solved. So it is just a question of time. Maybe in next 5-10 years, we'll have real technologies which will be really used everywhere in the buildings, and we'll have a good energy policies. And there is another one where I'm not so positive, another aspect where I'm not so positive about, and that is the material. And this is a chart done by American researchers. It's not very well readable, but actually it shows and indicates the materials, most of the materials we use for the production of products and buildings, and how long will they last. Now I can tell you on average,